Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. And today, we're being joined by Tracey Lawrence, author of Dementia Sucks. Tracey, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Paul.
Well, we are thrilled to have you. Are you ready to begin?
I am indeed.
All right. Question number one. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
Well, my philosophy is that you should write a book because you absolutely have to write it. In my experience, a lot of people write books because they feel like they should. They have dreams of what it's like to be an author. But I say the best books are books that are written by people who absolutely have to write their books because they have a message that's so important that they can't sleep until they get that message out to the world.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
Well, Paul, I found that, the tape keeps shifting. A long time ago, I had dreams of being an author. And when I first started investigating, it was all about finding the right publisher and having a niche and, getting the right deal and all that stuff. But, in the last several years, the landscape has changed so dramatically with so many channels for self-publishing and hybrid publishers. And, so it's a difficult map to navigate. And so that for me, that was, initially the most daunting thing. But when my book was ready and I was ready, I actually met someone who helped me to find the right publisher for my book. And it was a really quick process because my book was in great shape. And the person I connected with got it immediately. And as soon as she read it, she said, "I love it, and I think I have a publisher for you." And she did indeed connect me with a publisher who has been supporting the book and who really got it from the get-go.
Well, let's talk about marketing. So please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that has worked well.
Well, I feel that for me, speaking is a very big part of my marketing, and it seems to work the best because when people hear me speak about my topic, then and they like what I have to say, then intrigued and they want to learn more. And so it's great to have social media. I have several different social medias, but the personal touch is what really gets people engaged. And especially when you're talking about reading a traditional book, physical book, because they're the people who enjoy the personal interaction tend to be the same people who want to pick up a physical book, hold it in their hands and read it. So that's been a really good strategy for me so far.
Well, you mentioned adding a personal touch to your book launch. So can you give us a few more examples of that? Because it sounds like you've definitely got a great strategy there.
Okay. Well, for when I was launching the book, I was actually I had a reach out from a dementia home that it was a brand new one that they were looking to do a marketing event. So they reached out to me on LinkedIn and invited me to do one of my book launches there. And it was a great event. They were able to reach out to their database and my database and bring people in so that they could see the facility. They put on a really lovely brunch so that they could show people, what their facility was like and what their food was like, and gave me an opportunity to talk about my experiences with my parents, and in particular my mom, and and talk about what it's like to be a caregiver to a parent who has dementia. And on other talks as well. I've been in the last several months. I've been much more focused on generating those kinds of opportunities because I have I've gotten a lot of feedback on my talk, and people are very enthusiastic about the message, and I know that what I have to offer is extremely important. So I the more I get out there, the more really good feedback I get, and then I start getting emails from people who read my book and loved it and want to know more about me and my book and what I present. So it's a good process.
Well, speaking of books, I'd like to know what is your favorite book and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
That question is tricky because I've been around for a long time and I love to read. So picking out a favorite was difficult, but in the last couple of years, I've been reading a lot of nonfiction to help me with my business life. So the book that has had the biggest impact on me recently is called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. And in that book, he teaches you about the art of negotiation. And I learned a lot about human nature and how to make a deal. And that's not just a business concept. It has much broader implications in human emotions and human relations. So I have found that the techniques and the perspective that is offered in that book has been extremely valuable to me in improving my life.
And for a final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote is actually one of my own. And it is, "That does not kill me, makes me stranger." And the original quotation, and I'm not sure who said this originally, but it's that which does not kill me makes me stronger. And a lot of people have said that to me, particularly when I was going through my caregiver journey with my mother. But when you're a caregiver, it changes you. And it can make you a little weird. So I thought that was kind of a neat twist on a well-known expression that kind of says, yeah, it's true, but it also does this. So, and I like to frame things in a humorous light because that's the way I roll. And I find that throughout my life when things have gotten sad, depressing, challenging, having a sense of humor has served me extremely well. And I get that from my family. And I pay tribute to my family by continuing that long honored tradition of having a sense of humor and helping people to laugh when they're in circumstances.
Well, Tracey, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show today. What is the best way for people to find you online?
I'll give you the real easy one. I have the domain dementiasucks.com. So if you go to that website, if you remember Dementia Sucks, and most people do, just type that in and it will take you to my Dementia Sucks website, and it has links to all of my other stuff, my speaking, my consulting, all of my media, and other information. So I welcome people to find me there.
Well, Tracey, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
Thank you so much, Paul. It's really been a pleasure.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how to get your book published with a proven system that works, grab a free copy of my book at getpublishedpodcast.com.